Welcome to RPG Book Club LongCast, the podcast where we play a little bit of an excruciatingly long video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
Oh, I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
And I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And today we'll be talking about part 3 of .hack GU Rebirth Volume 1. And that will cover the entire arena subplot, which may be the main plot. This was a very long section of game. We might not get through all of it. We'll see how it all goes.
I think the thing is, at least with Volume 1, I think there is not a main plot.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's Haseo wants to find Tri-Edge, and everyone just keeps making him do things that aren't that.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, there's like maybe 2 episodes left, maybe 1 episode left after this, and literally like nothing has happened yet. So I think it's just world building that we're in for right now. But it's good world building. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but when it becomes our job to say what happened to this week, it's like, I don't know, we fucking like leveled an alt or something.
They introduced 50 new characters.
Yes.
They really did.
And I was taking notes, so I had to remember everyone's names.
That's the worst.
There is one character in here whose name I didn't catch, but he doesn't matter, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's
fine.
very important later on.
The only one I remember is Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, this is going to be a longish episode, so let's go ahead and dive right in and let's listen to, I'm sure there was some new music. I don't remember or what it could be, but I'm sure there was something. So listen to some music from .hack, and then we'll talk about the game. When last we left our heroes, we had talked to the guildmaster for Kestrel named Gabby, and Gabby, who, having read the forums, which is a spoiler for my memorable moments, Gabby is actually named Gabby, like Gabriella is a female playing this giant red beast of a dude just has this huge, like, hearty laugh, because one of the Q&A questions in his Q&A is, are you a boy or a girl? Because Gabby sounds like a girl's name, and I don't remember what it is, what their answer is, but it's one word long. But they say that they're a girl, which I think is great. But we met Gabby, and Gabby was like, well, player killing is bad, but the arena is all about player killing, so Bordeaux, you should kill Haseo in the ring and get it out of your system. And we said, okay. And then we got a kick-ass sword and saved our game. And that was about it.
Nice.
Yep. So Haseo and Atli go to the stadium for the first fight of the tournament. If you'll recall, Syllabus can't join because Gaspard got sad that other people play his video game differently than he does. And Syllabus had to comfort him.
Yes.
So it's time for the first fight of the tournament. Everyone is in the audience. Kun and Pai are there watching. Saku is watching. Syllabus and Gaspard are watching.
Which is stupid, because he's like, yeah, I can't make it. I really have to be there for Gaspard. Both of us are going to be physically at the place. I could be playing the game with you, but instead I'm just going to be sitting out.
Yeah, the thing Gaspard is doing...
be sitting at my computer pretending to sit in the stands.
Yes.
I would say maybe just Gaspard needs someone to hold his hand, but they can't physically do that anyway because this is a video game.
Yes.
Anyway, the guest commentator is Gabi, Kestrel's guildmaster in this fight against Bordeaux. So the guest commentator has a conflict of interest, and we'll see this is the case for every single fight in the tournament.
Yep.
So we fight Bordeaux and her friends, and I was kicking their ass, but then it went into a cutscene where they were kicking my ass.
Right?
Instead.
Yep. Every time.
I had not taken damage because I had been practicing with the big ass sword and practicing my wind up shots, which like hurt more than my skills, and they can't counter my wind up shots. So I was just like smash attack the whole time and like didn't take damage. And then it's like, wow, this is really hard. We're getting our asses kicked.
Yeah, I'm doing my very best, and it's not working. And this is every time you fight in the arena.
Yes.
Every time but one.
Yeah.
The fight with Endrance. Spoilers for the fight with Endrance. I actually was getting my ass kicked, and then it cuts to the thing, and Haseo was like, wow, I thought Endrance would be harder. And I'm like, this is fucking backwards.
We can actually talk about the actual game design a little bit more later, but I actually did have trouble with, like, pretty much most of these fights where, like, I did them, and they actually would fucking demolish me, and then I would go level up, and then I would demolish them. So you still had the funny cutscene dissonance, but actually, I did have to put some effort into these fights.
Yeah.
I didn't have to until the one with Endrance, because like I just was doing fine, and then I was like, oh, this will be okay. He's only 4 levels higher than me, and he just wiped the whole floor with me. So I sucked.
But Bordeaux is super easy, but we get our ass kicked anyway. And Haseo is filled with determination. He can't lose. Everyone's counting on him. If he loses, he won't be able to protect anyone. He remembers all his new friends who he does not like. And he also remembers Shino.
And yet he does definitely seem to be compelled by a duty towards them, despite definitely not liking them.
Yep.
You know what? I'm sure you feel that way towards me sometimes, Bernard.
I would say I always like you, but I don't always feel a duty towards you.
Oh, okay.
The other way around.
Yeah, that's fair. Sometimes I just need a fucking deal.
So suddenly Haseo is in a void, and a voice says, I have found you. And a giant shadowy figure grabs Haseo. And we're back in the arena, and Haseo finally summons his avatar, and it's badass. He summons a giant badass scythe, and he like swings the scythe back to cut down Bordeaux. And Bo, who is Bo now, is like, no, it's not right. Do not do this. So Bo apparently knows about avatars. And Kuhn is freaking out, and Atali yells for Haseo to stop. Apparently, Atali also knows what's going on, I guess.
She just probably figures he's doing something bad.
I mean, that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, a lot of the NPCs and stuff that don't know what's going on just think that he's cheating somehow.
Yeah.
So she could be one of those. She could know what's going on. It's impossible to tell at this point.
Yeah. So, but Haseo does not listen to everyone yelling for him to stop, and he murders Team Kestrel. And the crowd goes wild, and they call Haseo the second coming of Endrance. Excuse me. After the fight, Haseo laughs maniacally the way good guys do. Kuhn and Pi are waiting for him outside, and Haseo's like, hey, did you see? I got my avatar. And Kuhn's like, you idiot! Using an avatar against a player is extremely dangerous. You could have put them in a coma. Epitaph users should only use their avatars on things like Ida. And Haseo's like, well, they didn't go into a coma. They got back up. So it's fine that I did that. And fuck you. I'll do what I want. And I'm the good guy. And he runs off.
Yeah. Haseo is a big old bitch baby this whole episode.
Yeah,
like,
he's
constantly just whining about his power.
Yeah. He's not a good person.
Extremely brief aside, just because you said a phrase, Sam, that I would be remiss, I would be loath to not share with y'all. So, like, you know, we got current events happening, right? And at one point, someone in LA was protesting the police, and they held up a sign that was the funniest shit I've ever seen. It's just had me dying. Their sign literally said, Mayor Garcetti, more like pee-pee poo-poo bitch boy.
Yep. It's a good sign.
Sorry.
Oh, it's so good.
Anyway, yeah, you said bitch baby. So anyway, yeah, Haseo is definitely a fucking pee-pee poo-poo bitch boy in this episode.
Yes. So some dumb stuff happens at the guild hall, and you get like an email or something that Haseo needs to go see Yata. I don't remember. And Yata tells Haseo not to worry about Kun hating him, even though Kun hates him for good reason. And Yata says he's going to send Haseo on a mission to collect a sample of first-level Ida, which you do by using the Avatar's data drain. Yata also tells Haseo that there are other players who went into comas after being attacked by Tri-Edge, and they are called the Lost Ones. Which, again, if you have a name for it, I think it's happening too much.
Good rule.
After the meeting with Yata, Antares, the weird dude who helped us get our job extension, emails us and tells us to meet him in Lumina Cloth. Antares takes us to the headquarters of Ikalo, a guild for arena emperors. At Ikalo's headquarters is some tall dude whose name I didn't catch. He seems to not care for Antares, and he isn't happy about Haseo's presence. Another guy named Tayaku shows up, and he seems chill. Turns out Antares founded Ikalo but left it. Yet another new character shows up, named Alcade, who was the Demon Palace Emperor before Endrance beat her. She's also in the current tournament, hoping to dethrone Endrance.
Also,
point of
information, she's hot.
She's also on the cover of the game, so of these characters, she may be the important one.
Oh.
I sure hope one of these characters is important, because there sure are a lot of them. She and Haseo yell at each other for a while, and Antares and Haseo leave, and that was fun, I guess. Yeah. Antares expresses his sadness at the current state of Ikolo. He says when he saw Haseo fight, he thought it would be interesting to see him become an emperor. Then he leaves. Yata sends Haseo an email telling him to meet Pai in Makanu. Pai yells that we're late, even though a specific time was not set. We head off to Delta Delicious Pass Weed Eater to investigate some Ida stuff.
I like that one.
That one's good.
Yes, it is. Pai warns Haseo that if he can't control his avatar, he might end up a lost one. Pai and Haseo quickly find some freaky Ida bubbles. Haseo summons his avatar, which is called Skaith, and fights the Ida in a new battle system. How'd y'all like the battle system?
I think it rules. I think it's the best part of the game.
Yeah, I love it. I just also, like, it takes a little bit too damn long. Like, I wish it either took longer or shorter. Like, right now, it's just, like, it's not long enough to be, like, a big, epic, much to do, but it's not short enough to be a nothing. And so it's just like, oh, yeah, I did the really hard boss fight, and now I have to do a big old shoot 'em up.
Mm-hmm. On that note, I also would like it more if it were more elaborately developed and a bigger part of the game, frankly. Because right now, it's like obviously the fact that I think you do it maybe like 4. No, I think you do it 3 or 4 times this week. That's it. It's basically like a climactic boss battle kind of thing. Because you only use it when you're literally fighting Ida, which is like the big bad, right? Most of the time you're fighting random bullshit. But anyway, so you don't do it that much. So it makes sense that they wouldn't want to spend a lot of time on it game design wise, because A, it's a lot of time for something that's not a big part of the game, but also B, you would have a hard time getting good at it, right? And learning it because of how long of a gap there is between playing. That being said, so it's like, it's a little bit overly simplistic for sure. Some of the mechanics don't totally work. So the way this works is it basically plays kind of like Zone of the Enders 2, or even oh damn it. Hey, Bernard, what's that awesome mech action arcade game? It's a Yu Suzuki joint, I think.
Oh, the one we played at Pinballs?
Virtual On.
Yeah.
It plays like that, but like worse, right? Or not even worse, really just like more simplistic. So you're in a 3D environment and you're moving left and right. You're strafing around. You're shooting them. They're shooting you. It's got some shmup bullet hell style, like bullet dodging type stuff. And then when you get in close, you can hit it with your sword. Yeah. Here's the thing: is it kind of underdeveloped? Is it kind of overly simplistic? Yes, but it controls great. Like, it's not like it's technically proficient, right? Like, it's not like glitchy. It feels great to move to the point where I'm kind of like, where was this the rest of the game? how come the rest of the game can't have this like I almost wish they hadn't done it, because it shows me that they're apparently capable of doing good like game feel, but they just choose not to.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they're emulating an MMO, and in the mid-aughts, had any MMO ever had good game feel?
That's true. They're just being accurate. But yeah, I think it's a pretty fucking fun time. At the end, every battle ends when you get the enemy's health down to nothing. You then have to hit them with a special with data drain. And the way data drain works, you have to charge up your attack. And it's a slow moving bullet. So you got to either really, really be careful with your aiming or time it right. Usually there's going to be a spot in their attack pattern where they stop moving for a bit and you can hit them. That spot gets harder and harder to parse later, the farther you get into the game. But in the meantime, you have to dodge their attacks, because if they hit your attack, your charge meter for your data drain goes down. So it's like kind of fun to try and charge up this big move and then make sure you don't blow it when you shoot it. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about it, because that's all there is to say about it. But I think it's pretty fucking cool. Yeah.
I like it because in the regular battle system, every battle is exactly the same. But in this, the battle, each avatar battle is different. And you're like dodging different stuff. And
it's like explicitly like if it felt, it made me want to play Panzer Dragoon, and it's not one of those things where I play a shitty game and want to play a better version of it. It's like, this is good enough that I'm actually enjoying it, and because I'm enjoying it, it reminds me how much I love this kind of game.
Yes. So Pi walks us through all that, how to fight it, how to data drain it, and then we do the same thing to a few more Idas, and by the last time, it's not that fun. But
I forgot
we
do like 4 times in this level. That's right.
What was that?
Oh, I forgot you actually do it like 4 times in one level. I forgot about that. That's true.
Yeah.
As a boss battle gimmick is good. As a random mob gimmick is not very good.
I definitely wiped that from my memory.
Yeah, so when we get to the last Ida bubble, there's a woman and a little boy in the area. And the Ida bubbles go for the kid, but Pi pushes him out of the way and gets hit. Pi gets all glowy and tells Haseo to run away and call Kun, and that Kun has to data drain her. Haseo is filled with determination. He says Kun won't make it in time, so he'll save her. And Pi's avatar is summoned. A tooltip explains that Ida has possessed Pi's avatar, Tarvos. Haseo summons Skaith, and we fight. And it's really fun.
It's Tavros.
After the fight...
It's Tavros.
Yes. After the fight, Pi collapses, and Haseo is very emotional and apparently cares about her a lot, actually, even though he verbally abuses her all the time. She wakes up. Yes. She wakes up, and the kid is like, is she okay? And Pi tells the little boy and the woman that she and Haseo are volunteer game support, which I know that's just a lie, but just can you imagine volunteer game support? How much of a fucking dweeb you would have to be?
God. You know Google has that, right?
What?
Google has these people that are just like... They're like called like Google ambassadors or something. Actually, that's probably not what it is. That means something different. There's these nerds out there who are so in love with Google, and they're such bootlickers that they basically do Google support for free for fun. and there's like a community of it, and it's a decent portion of Google's support team.
That's wild.
Gross.
They're just huge nerds, the kind of people who probably like jerk off to a picture of Elon Musk, and they just love tech and they think it's so cool. And they're probably in like the open source community, but the difference is the open source community, someone else isn't making money off of what you're doing. I get depressed actually when I think about it. It makes me sad. I'm like, imagine the state of that person's like soul, you know? Like, what a debased existence. Anyway, hope none of them are listening to this. But if you are, get help or apply for a job at Google. They'll pay you.
Having worked for Google, they may not pay you.
Okay, they may not pay you, but you can at least attempt to get paid for your labor.
So volunteer game support people, Pi and Aseo, tell them that the IDA bubbles were corrupted data and that they should avoid this area for a while. After they leave, Pi comments that they looked familiar. After we return to town, Pi heads off to report to Yata, and we get an email from Atali saying a problem concerning you has been raised. We meet Atali and Makanu, and Pi shows up too. Apparently, both of us were summoned by the Seven Council of Moontree, and Atali's there to take us to them. So we go to Moontree, and it turns out the kid we saved is Zelkova, Moontree's guildmaster. And the woman is Kaede, the protagonist of Danganronpa V3. But also,
I love her.
Zelkova's assistant. She introduces the 7 members of the 7 Council, even though 3 are missing. She explains that they wanted to thank Haseo and Pai properly for saving them. Sakaki is also on the council, and he and Kaede argue about Zelkova's duties, because it's obviously the right time to do that while they have guests.
Yeah, they basically start doing like this elaborate leftist infighting right in front of you. It's extremely funny. It was triggering for me.
Pai whispers to Haseo about how rumor has it Sakaki actually runs Moontree and Zelkova is just a figurehead. Matsu, who is another member of the council and another new character, antagonizes Haseo for a bit and reveals that he is Haseo's next opponent in the tournament. And it's finally time for that next round of the tournament.
Yay.
In the waiting room, Haseo argues with Atali about her loyalty to Sakaki and whatever. He's being mean to Atali.
He's like convinced that she's a fucking like narc.
Yeah, which, I mean, fair.
Yeah.
She probably is.
She does say, like, I love Master Sakaki. I would do anything for Master Bukaki. I love him so much. But no, I'm not secretly undermining you and being a spy. But also, I would do anything for him, just to be clear.
So this round, when we're going up against Matsu, the guest commentator is Zelkova, Matsu's guildmaster.
What a shock.
And halfway through the match, it does another cutscene where Haseo and Matsu are both like, ugh, he's pretty tough. And Zelkova says Matsu hasn't been using his real power, a special weapon from his days as a PK. Matsu whips out a big fiery broadsword, and we still beat him.
See, this is the part where he actually completely demolished me here. I was pretty underleveled, and I was like, I wonder how much I can just swing being underleveled in this game. And it turns out, not much.
Nope.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually did have to go and grind a bunch here.
Matsu destroyed me the first time I fought him, so I just hit retry, and I tried, instead of just going for him, I tried taking down his buddies first, and I was able to beat him pretty easily.
That's cheating. Nice. That's absurd. I would never do that.
So
changing your strategy is cheating. Grinding is not.
Yes.
Matsu right here is my favorite obvious anime trope. It happens in like every fantasy anime, and I see it and roll my eyes at episode 1, but then in episode 20, when he draws the forbidden sword, I'm like, hell yeah, I knew he was going to draw that sword. I'm glad he drew that sword. We're all here for it. And when he was like, oh, he has that forbidden sword he hasn't used in forever, I'm like, here it is. This is it. This is the shit I'm here for. And it was good.
Not really much of a build-off and payoff. It's just like, he has a forbidden sword. There's his forbidden sword.
Yeah. It wasn't like in episode 20, like, great version of it. But when the words came out of Zalkova's mouth, he has a and I'm like, forbidden sword? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I want to see that sword.
And then you get it, and it's great.
Yeah.
And then you get it, and it is great. It is, like, bonkers great. Better than everything I have. I have not even come close to, like, replacing it
Oh, really? I already got a better one.
I replaced it. I got a better one.
Oh, well, I have worse RNG,
the better one isn't stupendously better than the fire one.
The better one isn't RNG. It's the one Adelie tells you to go get.
Oh, yeah, it's that one. That is technically not...
that one's better?
Technically a side quest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did it. I just don't remember it being better. I thought it was, like, tied, but...
I mean, it doesn't look as cool.
It does not look as cool.
I did play this, like, 3 weeks ago, so I could just not be remembering.
Fair.
Oh, I will say, speaking of swords, I did have a little bit of trouble all of this week at first because, if you recall, the last thing we did last week was get our class changed, which allows us to use big sword. Nothing happens in between that and the tournament. So you go into the tournament having never used your big sword before. If you're mean, you don't go and grind or anything. So it's just like, hope you like figuring out a whole new moveset, bucko.
I mean, you don't have to use the big sword. You can use your daggers.
Yeah, but they made such a big deal about it. But anyway, it turns out the big sword owns, though. This game is just enough of an action game for it to have the same thing as most action games, which is that the bigger and slower the sword is, the more fun it is to use. Because it's interesting, right? That's like, that's like Dark Souls' whole shtick.
Have you figured out how to reliably charge your big heavy swing?
Oh my god, I want to ask you all that. Okay, so here's my understanding. I want you to tell me where I'm fucking wrong. There's 2 places you can charge. One of them I did finally figure out this week. Because every attack is a 2-hit attack. You attack and then you attack again, even if it's like actually more than that, right? After you attack the first time, if you then hold down the button, you'll charge up your second one, and that's actually a different move. So with the big sword, you attack. So I basically literally just double tap. I go XX, and I hold down the second one, and he swings for the first hit. Then he charges, and then his second hit, which is when he jumps up in the air, does a front flip, and brings it down hard, that becomes charged. Now, charging your first move, which is that big sweep, every time I think I figured out how to do it consistently, after 5 or 6 times of me being like, cool, I figured it out, that method then stops working. So I realized that wasn't how you do it consistently. What is the trick?
I don't know.
I have no idea, because I thought it was tap tap too, but I can't get tap tap to work. So I thought, oh well, maybe it's tap tap when you have a full R1 bar. But
it has nothing to do with your R1 bar.
It has nothing to do with your R1 one bar. I just wasn't getting it for some reason, and so I'm just dumb, and I don't actually know how to do it.
Tap
every time it happens
perfectly for me now that I figured out that because you're essentially buffering the second attack, right? Like if you just hit tap, if you just literally hit X real fast, you'll do the 2-part attack. But if you hit X and then X hold, you charge the second part. So yeah, you're just it's just input buffering. But how to do the first one? It used to be like, at first I was like, oh, if I push it really hard, it charges, which I'm pretty sure PS4 doesn't even have pressure-sensitive buttons, so it wouldn't be that. PS2, it would be that. Theoretically. And then it was like, okay, maybe I have to be perfectly still. Like I can't run up to an enemy and do it. I have to stop moving and then do it. But it turns out I'm pretty sure that's not it either. Then I tried doing the opposite. Yeah. Almost like what do you call it? In a fighting game where you push the stick towards someone and hit the button at the same time, like forcefully. A command attack. turns out
a smash attack from Smash Bros.
Oh yeah, or command attack from any other action fighting game.
Yes.
I thought maybe that was working, and then it wasn't. So yeah, I don't fucking know. I feel like the main thing that allows me to do it is if I think in my head that I want to do it, and then a lot of the time it happens. Really, like.
Well,
but that's
I mean,
I can't figure out what
Dot
to
Hack
do.
1 was played by drilling the chip into your head
That's
and playing
true.
with your thoughts. So maybe it is.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like when I want to do it, like it happens more often than not. But it's still inconsistent, which is why I started relying on the tap buffering, because that actually is consistent. But they are different moves, and the first one is better.
Yes,
the big sweepy, that's actually a better attack. So whatever. Anyway, yeah. Bernard, do you have any illumination on this topic?
No, I just like the big sword because it's big.
Yeah, I just realized I should look this up. I keep meaning to look it up, but I don't because of ADHD. I'm gonna look it up while we continue.
Okay.
So we beat Matsu, and Sakaki watches on and says some mysterious shit about moving pawns into position. So he's a bad guy.
Like anime say.
So outside the arena, Zelkova gives Matsu a pep talk and tells him to get rid of the flame sword. Haseo runs into Matsu, and Matsu's like, hey, take this flame sword. And Haseo yells, I don't want this.
I love that. That's actually a great fucking line. He's so upset about it.
So good.
So Pyrrhus III emails us about a new Tri-Edge mark. He asks us to meet him in Delta Hidden Forbidden Bulwark, which is where the new Tri-Edge mark is, and of course Tri-Edge is going to return to the scene of the crime. We see Ovan and Yata standing there in front of a huge wall that's been marked by Tri-Edge. They have some weird conversation about something being imprisoned behind the wall, then they leave. Haseo and Pyrrhus III show up. Pyrrhus says that they should hide and ambush Tri-Edge when he returns. He has no idea when that will be. It could be years from now. So Haseo is like, fuck this, and leaves.
It's so great, because like, you as the player are supposed to be like, I don't want to fucking wait for years. Let me just log out. But like, you, as a JRPG player, you know that sometimes you have to pixel hunt. So you can talk to Pyrrhus like 14 times and get more and more obnoxious dialogue until Haseo is finally like, you know what, fuck this, I'm out of here, and like has a voice line telling you to log out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you're just supposed to not want to do that and leave.
I didn't want to do it.
It's designed. It's so good.
So we get an email from Endrance telling us to go to Lumina Cloth. We go there, and Endrance says we're late, even though a specific time was not set. Alcade's walking by, and apparently we're supposed to follow her. Her walking by was perfectly timed, so clearly we're not late.
Yep.
She's meeting with Endrance, and we spy on the meeting. She tells Endrance that she's going to have a specialist monitor their fight to expose his trickery. She runs off, and Haseo walks up and sasses Endrance, and Endrance is like, oh, you can't beat Alcade without using your avatar. She's really powerful, because she used to be an emperor. And then Alcade leaves. And Endrance walks up and has a big old monologue about the pride of youth. And it's time for the semifinals. Atali isn't online. Yep. Is she mad at Haseo for always being mean to her? No, she shows up. She had fallen asleep on the bus. How humorous.
You know, I like the thing because this scene did come just at the moment. Like, as soon as they're like, where the fuck is Atali? Something happened to her? Is she mad? As they were saying that, in my brain I was like, wait a second. This is an online game. Don't these people have jobs? Don't they do things that aren't playing this game? I just realized that you shouldn't just... It's just rude to be able to expect that someone's available at any given second. Like, they could be eating dinner. They could be with their families who they love. And, like, I'm going through that whole thing in my brain, realizing how stupid it is. That has not been a thing yet. And then Atali's like, I was on the bus. And I'm like... Okay, fine, game. You address my concern the second I think of it. Thank you. Good job, I guess.
You talk... Yes?
I was going to say my memory of IMOC is that you stopping playing to go to school and stuff is more of a thing.
Yeah, I have no idea
than
what
it is here.
Haseo's thing is. Like, we don't talk about him. I have no idea when he's playing this game. Like, presumably he's just sitting at his desk for the entire duration.
Probably
and you're
so.
concerned that these people would be like taking proper meals and spending time with their families. But have you met an MMO player?
Good,
Yeah.
good point.
Love you, MMO players. Love you.
Like
love
me.
you, Eli. So, Pine Coon talk about how Haseo has no chance to beat Alcade without the avatar. So he's definitely going to use it, and that's bad because he shouldn't. And the battle starts. Partway through, Alcade unleashes a crazy attack, and Haseo is like, no, I can't fail. And then Skaith seems to be summoned outside of Haseo's control, and Haseo's like screaming and has a crazed look on his face as he slashes down Alcade's team. And it's upsetting.
Yep.
After the fight,
it's like a fucky little scene where Haseo starts to like break down a little, seeing it happen outside of him.
Yeah.
It gets worse. It gets worse in the next fight though, but it does start here.
Yeah, the graphics were real cool.
I was worried Alcade was going to be in a fucking coma, but she hops back up.
I think you were right, actually. I think the charge attack uses a... They're saying that the charge attack uses the action meter. But I definitely know that towards the end of this week's play session, I was using it for every single attack.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know.
I don't feel
they,
like it uses the charge meter.
Yeah, me either. Because again, like I'm using them with such frequency with the double tap buffer that it wouldn't be recharging. Although maybe it charges super fast. But these people are saying like I'm seeing people being like, I don't get why I can't use charge attack, and they're like, oh, it uses the skill meter or something.
Or maybe it's like your items, because you can't use items if your skill meter is empty. So maybe it has to be full, but it doesn't actually use it.
Oh, does the item not actually drain it?
Yeah, using an item doesn't drain it.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I actually used items for the first time this week. Anyway, so the mystery continues, I guess. But yeah.
The plot
Luckily,
thickens.
you don't have to understand the mechanics of this game. You can just grind.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if it's ever too bad, you just grind.
This game is very generous about leveling. Like
Yes.
it kind of takes the teeth out of the RPG mechanics because I'm not really having to bother engaging much with whatever the fuck like weapon modification is. Because like you can do that if you want, but if you go and grind for literally 15 minutes, you'll gain 4 levels and demolish the boss. So really, that's always the better choice.
We're like I'm like 13 hours into this game and I'm level fucking 43.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's actually nice. Like when you go to, I hate when the plot makes you go to a lower level area. That shit sucks. But anytime the plot makes you go to a area that's higher level than you level up really fast. Which I gotta hand it to the game. Like I'm happy that the game does that. It's like every time I'm like, ugh, I gotta go grind. What a pain. 10 minutes later, I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, I also love, just as an aside, this game does every 1,000 experience points you level up.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's where they change how strong those 1,000 are, and that always just feels better to me than I have to get 14,612 experience points this level. It's like,
because that means an enemy that gives you 300, that's always, that's a lot. And if an enemy gives you 50, that's not a lot. You don't have to be like, wait, what's the scale? How many XP do I need to level up? Yeah, I agree. It's actually really nice that it does that.
Yeah. And because of that, the catch-up mechanics are real good. And I had been using Pyros III, because when you get Pyros III, it pops up on screen. You can use him in the arena. And I'm like, all right, bye syllabus. Only needed you for the first day of school. And I grinded the shit out of Pyros III because he's really good. And then the plot was like, oh, you have to use syllabus. I'm like, this is going to take forever. And it took one dungeon. And then he was caught up to where we needed.
Yeah, that's nice.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love it.
I've barely used Pierce the Third at all. I should.
Every
use
time I
him.
think about using him, he's fucking offline. But I do try.
Yeah, I did his and Gaspard's side quest, and it was a real good one. If you haven't done it, you should do it because it's great. But
I'm not going to say I don't like this game, but I'm also probably not going to play it longer than I need to.
yeah.
So I probably won't do the side quests.
Yeah, I only did the side quests because I got my butt kicked by this. I think it was Alcade's second half. One of the ones that has two halves. The second half.
Alcade's really tough. Yeah.
And so it's because I was just like, I think it was Alcade because you do Matsu, and it took you like 15 hours of game to get to Matsu, and then it's like, oh hey, all of the side quests between Matsu and Alcade are optional, so go for it. But you should have gained 15 levels, so the side quests weren't that optional. So I went. That's when I did it. Without that, I probably would never have touched them.
Yeah, in between the tournament fights, you'll get an email from someone who just gives you an area that you can go to that they suggest to level up. It's not a side quest, it's just an area to go to. And in between each fight, I would do the suggested area just to level up while I listened to something and didn't pay attention.
Yeah. Man, this game would probably be a lot of fun to just like lose yourself in back when that was like economically viable, like in middle school and shit. Just like, oh, I'm just gonna randomly procedurally generate me a level or two and listen to some music and just vibe. It probably was a lot of fun.
We don't have time to vibe anymore.
Nope. Vibing not allowed.
So I thought Alcade was fucking dead, but she hops back up, and she accuses Haseo of being a cheater like Endrance and says she'll never forgive him. Pai asks Kun what he's going to do about Haseo, and he says he'll show him how frightening avatars truly are.
Dun, dun, dun.
We get an email from Gaspard relaying a rumor from the forums. Someone saw Tri-Edge, and it was in the place that Pyrrhus III called us to, so we go there. All we find there is Pyrrhus III passed out, so we're about to leave, but Sakaki and Atli show up. So we stay in Pyrrhus' hiding place and spy on them. Sakaki and Atli consider the wall. Sakaki asks Atli if she can hear anything. She can, but it's faint. They speak mysteriously about a task and a thing and about Atli's abilities. And Sakaki also brings up Haseo and asks if Atli is still keeping an eye on him. So, yeah, apparently there's something weird going on there. Finals!
Also, does nobody in this entire game use private channels? Like, you shouldn't be able to spy on people's conversations in an MMO.
I hadn't thought of that. That's hilarious.
Like, every single person is like, so just /say is good for our covert operations, right? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. No one comes around this corner, so we can pop up our dialogue boxes for everyone to read.
So it's time for the finals. I said finals that weird way because it's a reference to something, and I knew Maddie would find it very funny. We're going to fight against Kun, and Syllabus is nervous about fighting him. And the commentator this time is Yata, Raven's guildmaster. So again, conflict of interest. We enter the arena and see Kun's teammates are Pai and ... Antares? ? Near the end of the battle, Haseo, of course, summons Skaith. Kun summons his own avatar, Magus, and we battle. Eventually, Skaith goes fucking berserk and starts attacking Magus mercilessly. Haseo is like standing on the ground outside of Skaith and is like yelling for it to stop. And then suddenly Haseo and Kun are standing in a void. Kun says that avatars amplify our dark sides, and we must always be prepared to lose something precious to us and to protect something precious to us and stuff. And Skaith totally murders Magus and data drains him as Haseo yells for him to stop. And it doesn't stop. After Haseo stares at Kun's body in the arena. Then Kun pops up and they make up some bullshit about Magus having a special ability, so it didn't drain Magus, actually. The data drain just didn't work and everything's fine. And Haseo's learned his lesson.
I really wish we would have just fucking killed Kun.
Yep, but
like,
I thought Kun was fucking dead.
Yep, because that would have been a good place to do it. It's like they've been building up that Haseo is acting in an irresponsible manner, right? So making it finally be like, well, your dumbass, your dumbass recklessness finally killed Kun, and we're all very sad about it. But no, Kun. They don't commit to that. It does still have that effect on Haseo. He is still kind of shook and is like, "Oh fuck! If it wasn't for Kun doing his contrived, made up bullshit, he would have died, or been in a coma or something." So it does have an effect on Haseo. He does sort of learn the error of his ways, but it would have made more sense if Kun had just died here.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine. I just found it kind of funny that it's just like, the data drain didn't work. I'm fine.
Yeah.
He used propagation.
Yes. Whatever that is.
Basically, they were like, you know how data drain drains your code? Propagation means you get to create lots of more code, propagate the code. So I just propagated the code that got drained. I'm like, so you healed. Your power is just healing yourself. That's convenient. That's convenient. Cool.
So after the fight, Yatta emails us saying he has something to tell us about Endrance. So we go to Raven's at home. Pi says we're late, even though a specific time was not set. Pi and Kun say they should party up sometime, even if it's not for a GU thing. We should just all be friends. I mean, you tried to kill me, and, that was a bonding experience.
Kun's really chill about it.
Yeah. Haseo brushes them off, pretty much. Yatta tells us to go talk to Endrance and try to get information on what his whole deal is. And with that, it's time to fight Endrance, and I guess talk to him while we're fighting him. We see Saku. Yes?
I just said, yep.
Yep. So we see Saku tell Endrance that she's going to take care of Haseo, but Endrance is like, oh, you don't need to do that because you not have faith in me that I can win. Fuck you. So Saku's sad. And the commentator today was supposed to be Antares, but Antares didn't show up. So Ovan fucking appears in the booth and says he's his replacement. And it's revealed that because all the commentators have to have a conflict of interest, Haseo and Ovan used to be in the same guild, the Twilight Brigade. Haseo has flashbacks to he, Shino, and Ovan having adventures and looking for a key.
Here's the key.
Oh my gosh, what is that? What is that?
It's from the guy Get SpongeBob Back.
Oh right, yes.
He's in there.
The way you said it sounded more like Pearl in that one video. Yeah,
it is more like that. You're right.
So it's time for the Endrance fight. After some fucking around, he and Haseo summon their avatars. During the fight, there's a lot of vague dialogue where Endrance does that annoying anime thing of pointedly using only pronouns to refer to someone.
I hate pronouns.
Yep.
He's got pronouns.
He has pronouns
bio,
and exclusively pronouns in his bio. His bio's just like 50 pronouns.
Yeah, but I hate that anime thing. They're like, he's like, I'll have to defeat you for her. And it's like, okay, if you're going to be vague about it and not explain it, you could just not say anything. Like, you could just not say that sentence. What's the point of saying it? Like, you can think it. People in anime are aware of the concept of thinking, right? They know you can think something in your head without saying it. Have they heard of that? It's called. You can call it. Some might call it self-talk.
Yeah. There's some. He says some stuff about how he lost her, but she reappeared to him in a different form and some shit. So, after an excruciating battle, we data drain Endrance. He and his weird cat thing start to fall, which I don't know if we mentioned the weird cat thing before, but he has a weird cat thing.
I hadn't noticed he had a weird cat thing until this cutscene.
He looks at the weird cat thing and says, Mia. And it's hard to do that voice I've been doing for him when it's just one word. Maria.
Yes.
Mia then turns into freaky Ida bubbles and consumes him.
Hell yeah.
Which is upsetting. Everyone in the crowd reacts. Saku swears that she'll never forgive Haseo. Whatever. That's the second person this week who's sworn to never forgive us, so Haseo's just making friends all over. And I think that's it.
Yeah, that's actually it. We blew through that. Yeah, and then we immediately save. Sam said, "Don't even log out." I'm guessing probably something happens when we log out, which is why Sam said, "Don't bother logging out. Just save right away."
I just saw that our first available save point was right there, and so
you're like,
it just
yeah,
seemed
well,
like
let's just take it. Gotcha. According to the FAQs I've been looking at occasionally, we're actually very close to the end. So I'm pretty sure it's one more episode. Like, there's not a lot of like chapter headings after this.
If we do our normal, if we do our normal thing where we don't do the final boss or whatever, we have two more.
Right. Yeah,
that's probably can squeeze it out in just one more.
I forgot about that thing.
Yeah. So let's. I have quite a few memorable moments. I don't have my PS4 is right here. I might have taken screenshots. I'll look, but we'll listen to some .hack GU music and then talk about our memorable moments. Yeah, so memorable moments. Maddie, you go.
I've got just a couple. I have one that is really funny. Gabby is a goddamn treat. I like Gabby. Hold on. I actually need to move my microphone because of how I'm positioning my body right now. Gabby's really fun. When you win the tournament, he's clapping. He really loves, because remember we learned last time that his motivation is he just wants things to be interesting. He doesn't really care about winning or losing so much as he just wants stuff to be cool and not boring. So after seeing you completely demolish his own guys, he thinks of this owns. He thinks it's been a great fight. So he's clapping, but he's got this animation where he's like, obviously y'all can't see me, but y'all fucking saw it. He's like clapping with his hands going up and just doing the biggest helicopter fucking circle motions with his hands. It's just really funny. He's a very excitable boy. Also, I didn't apparently get a screenshot of this, but apparently, but at one point, I think it's also at this point. Oh, maybe it's actually a little bit before this. Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, at some point, the announcer just says something like, that was great. What do you think, Gabby? And Gabby just goes, I'm Gabby.
I have screenshots of this whole scene, so I'll read out the dialogue during my memorable moments.
Okay, so he just says,
so
"I'm
good.
Gabby," and it's extremely fucking funny. There's also a nice scene. Y'all heard I was out of commission for a little bit. Did y'all talk about the whole thing with the Oh wait, this was a side quest technically. So y'all didn't talk about the whole scene with the little third grader, right?
No.
Okay, so
but that's one of my memorable moments. So go ahead.
So there's some side quests in this game, and like I said, and like Sam was saying, the side quests when they're at level are worth doing. But they're actually plotty side quests. Like they have voice acted cutscenes and stuff. They're more major than a lot of games as side quests, as opposed to just go to this one field and fight the monster that you get from the forum, right? So there's a couple of them. Most of them are uninteresting. But one of them, I will say, one of them shows how that one guy from Moontree, the one who's an ass, it just shows him being more of an ass. For example, that's one of the side quests. But this one,
Matsu.
Yes, Matsu.
Yeah.
But this one, you go to a side quest, and there's this character who seems to be, there's this girl character, and she's there alone, and right off the bat, it's you and Kun and Pai. Kun is like, "Oh, what's she doing here? You shouldn't be here alone." And she gets attacked by monsters, and she just fucking stands there doing nothing. And you have to fight off the monsters, and then she doesn't even say thank you. She just walks off, and you're like, we got to keep protecting her. So this goes on for the whole fucking dungeon. You're like, and you're there to complete an unrelated quest. Like the actual quest guy at the shop is like, "Oh, go kill the monster at the bottom of the cave," right? So then Kun, at one point, y'all do talk, and Kun says something like, Kun's doing his whole Jansen Lost Odyssey, the woman respecter kind of thing. And he's like, "You shouldn't be here all alone." And she says something non-committal and then runs off again. Blah, 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 blah. After a bunch of comings and goings, you learn the truth, which is a couple of things. First of all, you learn that she's in third grade, which everyone kind of makes fun of Kun a little bit. Now, in Kun's defense, I actually think Kun comes off a lot better than the characters act like he comes off in this scene. He never comes off as a creep.
Yeah.
He never comes off as a woman chaser. Even at the beginning, it really is more just I'm the woman respecter, not I'm going to get in this character's digital pants or literal pants. I don't know. But then as soon as he finds out she's 3, I feel like his voice acting and performance is really showing that he immediately switches from player to genuine sympathetic care, the sympathy haver has logged on, and he's like, "Oh," and he feels very affected by it. He actually really wants to help her. He's like, "Oh, that sucks. A little kid is in trouble. Fuck, I really want to help her out," So that's how I think he comes off. But the characters the whole time are like, "Lol, isn't she a little too young for you? Oh, you're such a pedo," Whereas again, and he's like, "What? No, I'm not." And but the game seems to think that he is being creepy, but I don't think he's being creepy. Anyway, you get to the end and you find out what the deal is that she was peer pressured, basically. Everyone in her third grade class has started playing the world, and they're all bragging about how they have really cool weapons and high level equipment. And she, not wanting to be left out, said that she also had high level equipment, but she doesn't. So she can't invite any of her friends to play with her, because then they'll find out that she doesn't have high level equipment and that she's a fucking poser. But also she's gonna get fucking whipped by these enemies, right? So anyway, you end up beating the boss, and then you decide to give her the fancy equipment, which I guess she wouldn't be able to equip anyway, because this game has level requirements for equipment. But because it's not equipment, it's an item. But anyway, so you do all that, and then also she is saying, "Oh, thank you," because she's been very cold this whole time. The whole thing where you're not opening yourself up for love, you're closing people out who are trying to help you and form a relationship. That human thing that we all do, or at least some of us do. But eventually she she opens up and she tells you this, and she's more honest. And then finally you fight the monster, and afterwards she's like, I can't take that. I didn't do anything. And then she's hurt. She's hating on herself, like, I suck. I didn't do anything. And then Kun, like a sweetie pie, makes up some bullshit about how, like, oh, you standing there doing nothing was actually very important because the monster was focused on attacking you, which made it really easy for us to kill it. Never mind that the monster was like 10 levels below us, but you know, but then he does say something that I think is less bullshit, which is like, hey, it took a lot of bravery and courage to come out here and do that, even if you just stood there and did nothing. And she's like, really? She eats it up, right? And then she feels really cool about herself. And then you give her the item, and it's really nice. Anyway, the line I actually was going to share as my memorable moment before Sam said, just go ahead and share all this, is I think Kun is bummed out, or maybe it's the girl. I don't know the context. But anyway, Haseo just goes, you can get depressed later. He's like, stop that. You can get depressed later. Let's fucking go. Which the whole thing is actually rather cute, and it makes Kun look very very good. I really like him. He's a sweetie pie.
You can get depressed later. You can get depressed now too, but you can get depressed later too.
Another one that I have is what's his ass? Fucking guy who keeps thinking that Haseo was his pupil. He's so annoying.
Endrance.
I
am not going to give you a hard time for not remembering characters' names in this game, because there are 50 characters, and each of them say their name once.
Yep. And Taurus keeps being like, he just decides that Haseo is his pupil, which is hilarious. And every time Haseo does a good job, he's like, I taught you well. Haseo's like, fuck you. You're just there. Shut the fuck up. I'm not your pupil. You can't just say that. But he says the sentence, he goes, the minds of the fighters are filled with their short-sighted pride, making them think that victory can come easily. And I'm like, yeah, that's a sentence that people say when they're in real life. And then he says, even if you train till you drop and work with all of your tactics, there is still a small chance that something could upset the situation in the actual battle. And him saying work with all of your tactics reminds me of in me and Bernard's game, hopefully to be released soon, when the hunter says, I'm going to defeat you with all of my weapons and skills. Weapons and skills, yeah. I'm going to defeat you with my weapons and skills. So just a little in joke for the two of us there.
One of my favorite lines, if I'm remembering correctly, one of my favorite lines from Persona 5 is, we'll have to attack it with our guns and skills.
That's right. Yes. Also, when you're at the big wall, wondering what's going on, somebody, I forget who, maybe it's Antares, the character speaking is not on the screen at this point, says, the question is, between the existence that lies beyond the wall and us, which is the one that is in the prison? And I'm like, shut the fuck up, Foucault, you asshole.
That's Yata. That's when Yata and Ovan are talking, and who knows which one it was.
That's probably that guy's probably like literally a sophomore in college, and he's literally like reading Discipline and Punishment right now. Also, this game, I ran into the Clerics Guild, and I just think they're super cute. The Clerics Guild is only people who play as whatever the fuck Gaspard is. And they all dress identically. They dress so there's these little, like, you know, they're these really tiny. They have like a Moogle like appearance, you know. So it's these tiny fat moogly dudes dressed in cleric gear, and there's always 3 of them, and they'll just be randomly in a field, and they're like, "Hey, we're the Cleric Guild," and they heal you and they give you buffs and stuff. And I like them, and they're cute, and I like to think about them existing. Also, there was like a forum post where they're like recruiting people, which is pretty cute. Also, I think the post is something like "Workers Unite," and I'm like, yeah, that's right. But it's not what I thought it was. Also, at one point, I had more than I thought. At one point, what's her name? Atalie. That's right. I couldn't even remember Atalie. Atalie is getting I love the idea that basically Moontree says, we want Adley, go get Haseo, we want to speak to him. And she just assumes that Haseo did something bad and that he's an ass and that they're mad at him, even though they're not, just because she just figures. I find that very funny. And then
and reasonable.
Yeah, and when he calls her out on it, she actually kind of lays into him. And at one point she goes, and you've got a mean mouth and a bad attitude. Oh, and your eyes look kind of mean too. All right. That is it for me. I actually have one more, but it might be one of y'all's, so I'll let y'all go.
Okay. So the other side quest that I did that I really like, because I did the one with Matsu, and he just wants to duel you, but that's PKing, and that's bad, so you don't.
Yeah, that's like it.
And that's the side quest, and it's not that good. But the other one with Pyros and Gaspard is really good. So Gaspard and Pyros know each other from like the forums or something like that, but they realized they were both on Haseo's friends list, so they could hang out. They invited you to go on the quest with them because they wanted to hang out, and so you're going through and you meet this wolf dude who's like just futzing around, and Pyros is like, what's going on? He's like, oh well, I'm just admiring the artistry of the everything here. And Pyros is like, oh, are you an artist? He goes, well, yeah, but I'm not going to be. My parents don't want me to go to art school, so I'm not going to go. I'm just going to be a businessman or some bullshit. And Pyros is like, good. If you're going to give up on art, you don't deserve to be an artist. He's like, what the fuck? How could you say that? He's like, well, if like art's hard, so if your heart's not in it, then sucks to be you. I'll show you how to put your heart in something, and then you go and you fight the boss. And it makes the wolf boy realize that he should live loudly and go and follow his dreams. And so he decides to go to art school, and it's really cute and sweet, and I really like it. My next one is really long, but I'm not going to read all of it. I'm going to implore you to go and read it. But it is a forum post called Gabby Q&A, and it has beautiful questions such as this. This is from a poster called Uriah. Uriah says, thank you for allowing me to join Kestrel the other day. I have a question I would like to ask. Someday, I'd like to become a guildmaster and have a big castle for myself, just like you. How should I go around running a big guild like Kestrel? Gabby says, get lots of members. Next question. Someone's like, your character is really cool, Gabby. Your weapon is awesome too. I'd like to have a weapon like yours. Where do I need to go to get a weapon like that? Gabby says, effort and guts.
I love Gabby.
Gabby owns.
And the next question is like, has a whole long top part, but it's like, right now I'm stuck in a loop. I still have equipment that I started with. What do you think is the best way to save money? Gabby goes, don't use it. It's so good. But when Gabby says her that she's actually a girl, the question is, my dream is to become a programming prodigy and get rich and live on the top floor of a really tall building. What's your dream for the future, Gabby? Please tell us. And she goes, a girl's got to have her secrets.
Aw.
I love it.
Oh, I forgot this one. This is my last Gabby quote. But the question from Zodiac Mark II says, hello, Gabby. Today I have something I'd like to ask you. Why did you begin playing the world? For me, it was because a friend told me that I should try it. I'm very grateful to him. I eagerly await your answer. Gabby says, I forgot.
I love it. Yeah, no. Gabby is like, honestly, like, not just the most realistic representation of an actual MMO player, but also the most accurate representation of the MMO player that I most enjoy playing a video game with. Like, if people are out there acting like fucking Haseo or, heaven forbid, Atali, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're get away from me, you weirdo. But when someone's being like Gabby, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go do a raid, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, these games aren't that good, y'all. It's fine. Just have a good time.
But another thing I wanted to talk about is we briefly mentioned him in episode 1, but Salvador is the best, and I love him. And Salvador Ihara, he's like a one-man TMZ where he just is trying to get snoops and stuff, and he has videos that he posts of him getting like investigative journalism. But this most recent one this week, he's trying to talk to people whose kids have Doll syndrome. So he climbs in a tree outside of this woman's apartment window and screams, "Fire, fire, there's a fire." So she runs to the window to see. And he's like, "Now that I've got your attention, what about your kid that has Doll syndrome?" And it's hilarious and a great video, but it ends with the kid with Doll syndrome wakes up and says the name Sakaki.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's really freaky.
It's really fucking freaky. And I thought like maybe it would come up this week, and it hasn't come up yet, but it's fucking freaky and it's fucking cool. It's a great video. Everyone should watch it. But Salvador is the best. Love him. Love Gabby. What about you, Bernard? Do you have any?
So I loved the scene that Maddie spoke of earlier. I have the screenshot so I can give you the exact dialogue.
Yes.
The announcer says, "This must be disappointing for you as Kestrel's guildmaster. Any comments? Is it over already? The match was decided in an instant. Now that it's come to this, we would love to see him fight against the Emperor. I'm Gabby!" Yes. Well then, farewell.
I'm Gabby.
Also, I don't think we mentioned this before. It's possible we have, but I love how sometimes the subtitles have emoticons in them.
Yes. I
that was going to be another one of mine. Is
a lot.
Kuhn is dropping emoticons like constantly. He is definitely like gassing people up with his emoticons and his text, and it's great.
What I kind of already suspected, but the game doesn't really clarify, which is that the voice acting is all metaphorical. Right?
Yeah.
Like, all the voice acting is sort of what Sam said. The construction is, it's a representation of what an MMO feels like. So it's more immersive than an actual MMO. It has voice acting and has like people emoting and stuff. So like they do not have voice chat, I think.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, especially when characters are sitting in a field talking about secret things instead of just fucking emailing themselves. Because it's not even like, oh, Haseo was listening in. It's like, no, they're just typing it. It's right there in the chat. And also, presumably, when Haseo enters the field, it probably says, like, Haseo has, player name Haseo has entered the field. And then Haseo's just standing there, and he's just reading the text of these people chatting, and he's like, oh, word. But I love the emoticons. It's very cute.
Yes, I mentioned that because when Gabby says, "I'm Gabby," there's a big smiley face with it.
It's so good.
I don't really think I had anything else. This week was a bunch of bullshit.
I have two more very short ones.
It really kind of was.
I have two very short ones. After Haseo kicks Pai's ass because she turned evil for a second, he goes, "Hey, are you okay? Did the inside of your brain get data drained too?" Which is a pretty good burn. And secondly, when you use Data Drain, when you're in the special extra fighting system mode, the Ida fights, the graphics are fucking sick. You have a cool gun, and you shoot like a crazy rainbow-colored laser, like light show extravaganza. It's cool as shit. Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, Ida's apparently really dangerous, but it's making the game a lot cooler.
It's making the game a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should just be like, oh, Ida's a bug in the game, and they're just like, yeah, well, it's kind of more fun that way. Let's just it's not a bug, it's a feature, you know? hey, gamers, go to this area to do a fun new event. You might end up in a coma.
Go into a coma.
Eh. Look, you're an MMO player. You're already basically in a coma. Sorry, most of our fan base.
Check it. Yeah. I'm checking my recent forum posts to see if there's anything else there that I wanted to talk about. But I think
kept up on the forum.
That's all that I can remember.
I kept up on all the forum posts pretty much this week, but I didn't even visit the news tab this time around. Which is a shame, because I enjoyed the news in the past, but it's just like, that's too much, man. That's one too many steps removed from the action of the game. Yeah. So maybe next time I'll catch up on the news.
If this was the only game I had when I was like 14, I would read every word, but I'm 29 years of age. I have a job.
You run marathons.
I don't even run marathons. But I can't do it. I'll check if Salvador Ihara has posted anything, but
yeah, Salvador is the best. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. I really thought this was going to like push 2 hours, but Bernard had good old-timey newscaster.
I was trying to get through it quick.
Make sure we got through it.
You did.
My notes were 1,800 words.
Yeah, it was quite a lot this week, but that means we probably will finish this game and then get to where the game's probably actually good in round 2, because I'm sure whatever the big cliffhanger for Volume 1 will make Volume 2 a much more interesting experience.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
But probably. It might just be more like, so one thing that I love, and I hate it, but I love it, is there is a trading card game mini game in this game, but it does not appear in Volume 1. There's just people bitching that the card game mini game is not in the game yet. And so it's been locked, and there's forum posts of everybody like, when will this open?
I find that extremely funny.
It's so good.
You just told me, you just spoiled it, Sam, but you didn't. It's okay that you spoiled it, because like as soon as I saw that forum post 3 weeks ago, I was like, oh, the joke is that it's not in part 1 of the game at all. That's funny.
Yeah, I think it's not. I'm exactly as far into it as you guys are.
Anyway, what I'm saying is you're almost definitely right. You know, like that's probably what's happening, and I find that I also find that very humorous. I don't want to deal with a fucking card game though, so like they can keep it for all I care.
Yeah, it's probably going to be ridiculously polished and ridiculously good, and that's just going to be the thing. But yeah, if you like this game, it's on sale all the time, and you should play it. It is, even if it's not on sale, getting 4 RPGs for $40 is ridiculously good. I definitely think, like we were mentioning earlier, like there's so much content in this game. It's ridiculous and well worth it, even though it's kind of jank and weird. I still am having a positive experience with it.
If you want to just go absolutely crazy getting into a new fiction world, I think this is probably a really good one to get into.
Yeah,
because
you could do worse.
There's
than
so much.
There's so much. It's all fucking stupid, and it's got consistently rock solid music.
Yes. But yeah, if you like what you hear and you want to donate to us, you can do so at our Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/RPG Book Club. But of course, even though this is evergreen green content, so you'll be listening to this in a million years when there is no longer a police force. But you should donate instead to initiatives to defund the police. Or if you just want to play video games, you can either get the Itch.io 750 games for $5 bundle, or get Arian, the Legacy of the Koryodon, which is a 4 by and about African JRPG. So it's on brand for us. I'm going to pimp those instead of our Ko-Fi for the next hot minute. So yeah, do that, and come back and listen to us next time when we will play more of this video game. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I've been Maddie Grace Webbin.
I've been David Bernard Hauk.
Bye, everybody.
And be excellent to each other.
Party on,
Party
dudes.
on, dudes.